Hey everyone, welcome. I'm doing a live stream. I haven't done one in a little while, and I'm heading on I95, heading north from Richmond area up to DC area, and I'm actually going to stop at the Tesla Supercharger at Potomac Mills in Woodbridge. So that's what I'm getting up to, and as you can see, this is who's driving my AutoPilot with my water bottle, my full autonomous self-driving. At least for now, it functions that way on the highway when you do that. So if you're out there and you got any questions about what I'm doing or anything news related, like from Tesla, I mean, there's been quite a few things recently, and I'm still, my vehicle. Just to give you a little background, I purchased my vehicle. Actually, took delivery of it in March. It's a Model X, and I did purchase the full self-driving option. So I'm just waiting for Tesla to activate it, and of course in order to activate it, they have to have all the software developed and also get regulatory approval. I don't think either of which are complete yet. We're going accelerating now. AutoPilot's having me pass this truck because he was slowing me down. Hey, I just did a video recently. Actually, I'm not sure if I've released it yet, but if you check out this this blue steering wheel here, and if you really noticing it, it actually moves exactly along with the main steering wheel as it turns left and right. That blue symbol turns left and right as well. And people have also asked me about this steering wheel cover. It's just a cheap cover I got at Walmart. It just covers the steering wheel because I have sweaty palms, and sweaty palms over time wear down your steering wheel. It's unbelievable the amount of wear you can get on your steering wheel. So I put this on here as like a $5 cover that I got, maybe even less than that, to prevent the hand oils from doing that. And I've been doing a lot of driving. Actually, I'm going to do an update video at some point showing you my experiences, but I've got almost 26,000 miles. Actually, there's all the Easter eggs too on my Tesla. So I can just say that there's no wear on the steering wheel because I got the cover on there. I've also got a clear front end protection, like a clear bra. You can't see it. Covers the entire front of the vehicle, and I did a video on that too. I think it's Expel. I think that's what it is. The new generation of the Expel films. That's worked really well so far. So hopefully I don't have any road rash because I'm on the highway all the time. You can imagine I've had my vehicle since March, and I've got 26,000 miles on it now. Now it's September. I think I'm probably putting on mileage at the rate of about 60,000 miles a year right now. And one thing I have noticed, since I've got almost 30,000, and I'll do a video about this specifically in the future, is there is some range loss on my battery. And I have charged it to full a few times when I'm on trips, and I can't get the 259 anymore. I don't know what it is now. I think it's like 255, 256 what I can get to, but I can't get the 259. Actually, when it was brand new, it used to go up to like 260, 261. But it's rated from Tesla at 259. That's what I've had most of the time. But unfortunately, I've already started to see a little bit of range loss. And we're down to 70, so I'm going to use the auto lane change. It's changing lanes for me. Tesla Model 3 would be a good first car for a 16-year-old. I say yes, if you can afford it. I don't know if you're talking about buying it yourself or buying it for someone else. You have a 16-year-old. I mean, it's going to be expensive. They market it as an affordable car, but it is affordable for a Tesla. It's not affordable in terms of other cars. My dad will buy it for me. Yeah, I say that people are expecting the average Model 3, even though they start at $35,000 US dollars, to be more like around $50,000 per vehicle. That's what they're thinking it's going to be. I'm making another lane change. Woo! See that? That was not the smoothest lane change by auto lane change, but we made it. So anyway, yeah, Model 3 would be a great car because you may not even have to drive it. Model 3s all come with that are capable of full self-driving with all the 360-degree cameras and everything. AutoPilot 2. I've got AutoPilot 2, I just don't have the full self-driving activated because Tesla hasn't activated it yet. And there's a lot of secrecy with that too, with the full self-driving. I'm going to do a video about that too in the future. A lot of people are thinking Tesla's just not going to be able to do it, or maybe not for 10 years. And I know that Tesla is very secretive, and I have a feeling that they're already got this developed, and they're just trying to make sure it's done right before they release it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made the claims they did on their website in terms of me paying extra money on my vehicle, you know, for the full self-driving option. And you may be aware too that you're going to be able to, any of these vehicles with the 360-degree cameras and AutoPilot 2, you'll be able to put it out the stud. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome for answering the question. Thanks for asking it. You'll be able to put your Tesla out the stud in the future to earn money. And it will go around driving people around like Uber. There'll be an Uber competitor. And so anything built since the middle of October of last year, 2016, has that capability in it, including every SX and every single Model 3 will have it from the beginning. So it's a lot of value you get when you buy one of these things, and if you've got that capability in your vehicle, it's going to have a lot of value down the road too for the next purchaser. Let's see. Is Tesla? I can't see your question. Is Tesla the Tesla network? What for? Are you asking a question about driving for others, putting the car out the stud, you know, making it money like an Uber? I think it'll be on any road.
Watch out! You know, object on road ahead.
As long as they get this self-driving, this level 5 autonomy, which they're saying these vehicles have the capability and the hardware, then it'll be any road, anywhere. You just won't be able to use your vehicle when it's earning money for you, but it'll help pay the bills, which is nice. And you may also be aware, you're asking about the Model 3, you have to pay per use on superchargers with Model 3. Model S and X come standard now with like 400 kilowatts a year, I think. And if you use a referral code, which I have one, if you search my channel for referral code videos, you'll find it. If you use a referral code when you buy an S or X now, you get free unlimited supercharging for the duration of ownership for the original purchaser. So it's at least better than what it is for the 3. And mine is, of course, different. Mine's grandfathered in. Hey, thank you. Thanks for that comment. And yeah, I just want to mention that mine, thankfully I'm grandfathered in. It's not just for the owner that I've got free supercharging, unlimited for life. It's for the vehicle, as long as this vehicle can drive, no matter who owns it. So these things add a lot of value to the Teslas by having these features. And of course, nobody else has it. Nobody else even has provisions for long distance driving. So I see there's 3 people watching. Hello out there, welcome. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm driving north on I95 between Richmond and Baltimore, or Richmond and DC, and I'm slowing down here on AutoPilot. You can see I've got set for 77, so I'm gonna use the auto lane change now. That was pretty smooth. Okay, Greg, is my water bottle empty? Let's see, I'm gonna take the top off. No, I'm not gonna take the top off.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
It's full to give it the weight. It needs that weight on the steering wheel so that it provides some resistance. And that's what Tesla uses, some kind of resistance or something sensor in the middle of this. There's no sensors on the outside. It's just in the middle, and it feels resistance, and that's when it's okay. If it doesn't feel any resistance, it starts to complain. Use auto lane change again to go back. Yeah, you're welcome, of course. And you know, I won't need this in the future, in the near future, hopefully. The reason why they have these relatively easily defeatable systems is because they already know that they're gonna disable the systems as soon as the cars are ready for full auto Whoops, full autonomy. I got to drive my first Model S today, Las Vegas. Really good. Still debating Model 3 or Model S, certified pre-owned. Okay, James. Hey, I got some tips for you, James. Yeah, the Model S is great. I've driven that a few times. So it probably has the lowest center of gravity of any car I've ever driven. I'm thinking Model 3 is probably similar, but smaller, like 20% smaller in most dimensions. The biggest areas you're going to notice the difference in size for Model 3 is going to be in the frunk, which is considerably smaller, and the trunk, because the Model 3 is a trunk, Model S is a hatchback. So Model S has about twice the cargo capacity in the back as the Model 3. So that's a big consideration. Another one is AutoPilot and full autonomy. Every single Model 3 will be available, will have AutoPilot 2 and upgradable to full autonomy, if that matters to you. If it doesn't, I'm guessing a Model 3 in your price range, or Model S in your price range that's used, probably won't even have AutoPilot on it. Or if it does, it won't be AutoPilot 2, which is what you need for full autonomy. So you got to consider that as well. Those are the I'd say the two probably largest considerations for you. Rear wheel or all wheel? Okay, moving to Hampton Roads, okay? Yeah, if AutoPilot 2 is a must, my guess is you're going to go with the Model 3. That's just my guess. Let me also ask you, will you be doing a lot of long distance driving? Because if you do, a used Model S is better because you get free supercharging. Model 3 you pay per use, so consider that. And in terms of all-wheel drive, yeah, I've got the Model X. That's what I'm driving, and all those are all-wheel drive. And of course, I think it's great. It's amazing how confident the vehicle feels when you're driving through turns, just on normal dry roads. It's really, really nice if you can afford it. And I think that none of the Model 3s will be available with all-wheel drive, at least initially. I can't see, are you Rhode Island and Virginia? Yeah, wondering about the rear-wheel drive in the snow? Yeah, I'd say if you think you're going to be driving in snow, get all-wheel drive. Okay, here's another question. I'm trying to read this one. 123 kilometers an hour. Do you feel safe to rely fully on autopilot at that speed? At 74, is that about what I'm doing? 74 miles an hour? I don't know how to convert that. Yeah, it's just totally good. The only time there's an issue is if, say, that big semi
Watch
up
out,
here
vehicle stopped on
right
shoulder ahead.
decides to cut right in front of me and cut me off where the lane ends. That's when you're going to have a problem with this current system. It does not back down. If someone is cutting you off right in front of you, or lane ends and they're merging in front of you, it is not going to back down. Just be aware of that. It's really driver assistance. You got to be aware and sitting here at the wheel like I am, and you got to know its limitations. But outside of that, there's really very, very few glitches that have happened. That's the biggest one, you know. So it's really, in my mind, full autonomous on the highways here, on the interstates. It is now, as long as you're familiar with the system and you're staying alert while it's being used. Because you do need to intervene sometimes, but it's rare. And my guess is it might even be that way when it goes full autonomous as well, at least in the first generation of that. I know it freaks a lot of people out when they see me. If somebody's driving up beside me, they'll see that my hands aren't on the wheel, and they'll start pointing and all kinds of stuff. They'll just start staring over there. And it's freaky for people just because people aren't used to it. That's the biggest thing. It's what you're used to. All of us grew up with cars that you had to drive yourself, and you had to give it a tremendous amount of attention, which you still do. But now, with cameras in 360 degrees around you, the computer has the ability to know vastly more than any human would be able to do on their own, as long as it's programmed right and functioning right. So that's just something we just need to get used to, and we will over time. I'm used to it already. Like, if you heard me earlier, I've got about 26,000 miles on this vehicle already since March. Most of it is done with AutoPilot. I do a lot of interstate driving. think auto wipers come back soon on AutoPilot? That's a good question, Frederick. Yeah, I cannot believe I've never had the automatic wipers function on this Model X. I think no Model X has at this point. I guess it was on Model S, I'm guessing. But I researched that online. I couldn't find anything about it being functional on Model X. And I think I looked over here on the manual. It said that too. So I don't know why they took that off or why it was never put on for Model X. So if anybody knows, comment and let me know why it is like that. What is the problem? Why can't they just activate that? It doesn't seem too complicated. I mean, I understand no full self-driving yet. There's a slow vehicle up there coming out of here. But I don't understand no auto wipers. Oh, no auto wipers there? It freaks you out watching me? Coming soon, yeah, on hardware 1. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I also heard another feature that they're going to be activating on AutoPilot. I think it's AutoPilot 2, is these cameras. There's cameras behind here. There's cameras all around, but I think they're going to activate, there's several cameras up here. They're going to activate them to be able to be used as, what do you call it? Whatever you record when you're driving the whole time, non-stop. And you'll be able to review them. I think they're in black and white though, is what I was told. So I guess that could be a useful feature, especially if you get in an accident. Dash cam, exactly, thank you. So if you get in an accident, that would be really helpful to know exactly what happened. And I'm sure this car already knows. Tesla probably already knows everything no matter what. I don't know what they're doing with all that data. I know they're using a lot of this data from the cameras to map out all the roads. But just a straight video, I don't know if they're capturing and saving all that or what. If anybody knows if they're saving all that video, let me know. I'm kind of curious as to if they're doing that or not. See, it's starting to get dark here. We're just about sunset.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
It's set at 77 and a 70. How do you put the collision avoidance alert onto the early or late Model X? Okay, that's another thing that came up recently. I know that initially there was no collision avoidance alert or automatic emergency braking, if that's what you're talking about. It didn't appear on the original Model X. And then Consumer Reports complained and was going to downgrade all the Tesla cars because it didn't appear. And then they did bring it up in a software update this summer, and I remember when it appeared. I remember actually it was functional a couple times for me. That's how I really noticed it. But now I think they've removed it again. I think Consumer Reports mentioned that. I think I saw that online on a Consumer Reports article. So if anybody knows the status, let me know. I don't even know if it's active on this car anymore. On the Model X AutoPilot 2 that I have. I mean, obviously I want as many of these features as possible. And it's kind of strange that they keep pulling features like that back, like auto emergency braking and auto wipers. I mean, what we really want is full autonomy, but if they can't even get those two, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe there's some kind of glitch with setting up this entire system to work with all that. Who knows? I'm sure they're working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people just don't know about. Starting to slow down now because this car is going slow in front of me. Well, slower, so we're going to change lanes. They are in shadow mode for a few weeks. What does that mean, shadow mode? Does it mean they're gathering data and seeing how all this works, and then they're going to activate it for everyone? Is that what that is? I'm not sure if I completely understand what shadow mode is. Okay, gathering data. Okay, thanks, James. Model Lordship is still collecting data. Okay, I guess probably it's validating whatever system that they have set up with their software. That would be my guess. I've been pulled over for autopilot. No, have not. Thankfully not. Mine has never worked. What was it? On mine, not that I notice. Yeah, well, I think where it's worked is when I'm coming to a traffic light and I'm not braking quite hard enough. Like, I know I'm going to stop behind this car that stopped at the traffic light, but the computer is not so sure, and that's when it starts to intervene. I did notice that once they updated and made it active here, before they took it away anyway. Hey, in terms of being pulled over for autopilot, I don't know how they even know I've been using autopilot. You know, what's the procedure for some law enforcement officer to pull someone over that's been using it at the time that they're pulled over? How do they know? I guess that would be the question. And since it's only a driver assistance, and I have to maintain control of the vehicle at all times, and I'm able to intervene, just grab my hand on the wheel, do whatever. I mean, there's nothing illegal that I know about using the system itself. You know, the way it's designed and the way it has been released. Of course, if I put a water bottle on there, that's not the way it's designed, but that's just allowing me to keep my hands from touching the wheel, but they're still here. So, I don't know. I guess it's a gray area, in my opinion, the whole thing. And, of course, pretty soon in the future, you have a car that's full autonomous, you're not going to be able to even I would hope, prosecute anyone for drunk driving or driving while high, because they're not driving. The car's driving. So all that has to be worked out. And that's going to take some time. There's somebody right on my right there. I can't switch lanes. I'm trying to get out of here. What do I prefer? Fob or app? What do I prefer, fob or app? I'm not sure what the question's about. Are you talking about for summons? To summons the vehicle? Because I've summonsed it before with the fob and the app, and I think I prefer the fob in and out of a parking spot. Yeah, I prefer the key fob. The apps, it seems like there's a delay because it has to go through the internet before it gets to the car. The key fob is more of a direct connection. I'm trying to move over if AutoPilot lets me. And it is. Auto lane change. It didn't have much room there, but it made the lane change. Well, I got to lower the speed down. We're at 65 here. Okay, down to 73. That could be why I was having an issue. I was going a little too fast. Okay, so to get back to the question, yeah, if you're talking about summons, I definitely prefer the key fob because I feel like it's more of a direct connection. It's beaming right to the car in front of you and back. But the app has to go through the internet, I think. I don't think the app goes directly to the car, and there's a little bit of a lag, it seems like, to me anyway. Not available at the key fob. I wonder why. That's interesting. Well, I'm getting close to Woodbridge. I think I've probably got... actually, this GPS has not got me... This GPS in the car is not heading towards Supercharger. I think I've got about 30 more miles to go.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Legislation, okay. Yeah, I wonder where all this legislation gets through. I've never heard of any legislation for or against it. I mean, how do they get this AutoPilot approved? Who approves that kind of thing? Anybody know? I mean, what organization has to approve this? I'm just curious because I don't even know. And like if someone decides that all cars in the United States can be done autonomous, they can do autonomous driving, is that a nationwide thing in the United States or is that a state-by-state basis? If you know, let me know. See, You know, this car's passing me on the left. Van with no license plate. And it just slowed down. That's weird. It just slowed down and got behind me again. And it's got no license plate on it. Doesn't even look like it has regular headlights. Has anyone tried to race me? I don't think so. I mean, I can't rev my engine or anything to signal that I'm going anywhere. But anybody I've ever wanted to pass in normal driving, I've been able to pass. Or anyone I've wanted to beat away from a stoplight, get ahead of them, I've been able to get ahead of them. There goes that van again. There's no license plate. Oh, I guess it's back in the window. You can't see it because of the tinting. AutoPilot 2, not display the car on the right or left. It doesn't, I mean, it seems like they haven't activated, all the sensors yet. It does seem like it's sensing that something back there. That was that truck right here. But it seems like all the sensor data is not being displayed on the screen. I think that the car knows more. I think that it's just not able to display it to me right now because of the limitations of the software. That's my guess. Because if it's going to be able to do full self-driving, it needs to be able to know all that, like you pointed out. And so I think it does. It's just not showing it to me. The biggest thing it's showing me on the screen is that there's blue lines, and the two blue lines, one on each side of the car, that go front to back. That means that it knows exactly where the lane is. If one of those turns to gray, or both of them, then I know it's having trouble figuring it out. If the gray line goes away, it has no clue. Those are like the 3 levels of awareness that the car has and how it communicates to the driver. So it's all good. When everything's blue there, it's all good. There's plenty of times in bright sunlight, areas that are under construction, don't have any lines, or the faded lines, it has trouble. Does it still read under cars? Well, yeah, I think one of these cameras up here is some kind of a radar that's up in here. And I can tell that if there is a vehicle in front of the vehicle in front of me that starts braking, this car my Model X will start braking. It knows, it can recognize the vehicle in front of a vehicle slowing down, which is very important to know. I mean, you got to have a quick reaction time, and you got to start reacting, you know, before it's too late. So it definitely is able to do that. I've noticed that in normal driving. That's a good question. Because the thing is, if there's a giant truck in front of me and then there's a little car in front of that slowed down and the truck didn't slow down, I might go right into the truck. But it can tell that there's a vehicle in front of the vehicle in front of me slowing down, and when you experience it, at first you wonder why were you slowing down, and then when you see what happened, you're like, oh, it's a good thing it could do that, because a normal human driver could not do that, really. In most cases, you can't see what the vehicle in front of you is doing. So it's another bonus of this full autonomous, or, you know, more autonomous type driving. I'm entering a little traffic jam here. We're all going slow. Well, slower than you'd think anyway. Recommendation for new Tesla owners. Which model do you have? First of all, do you have a Tesla? I don't think you do. And which model are you talking about? S, X, or 3? Let me know. Or just general stuff, I guess. Because I can tell you stuff specific to each model. And one of the cool features, actually, that I discovered recently is the brake. Getting a Model S. Is this Model S? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, my vision is going. because I'm getting older. Okay, Model S. Let's see. First of all, actually, in almost all cases, you're going to have free supercharging. In almost all cases, if you're buying a new one and you haven't placed the order yet, you can use my referral code and definitely get free supercharging. Just search my channel. But so that's a good thing. Supercharging, understanding how supercharging works, especially if you're taking long distance trips, make sure you understand how that system works. I mean, the system over here, the GPS will pretty much route everything for you and tell you where to stop, but you have to listen to it. You can't ignore it, and you need to know ahead of time that you even have enough electricity to get to your first supercharging stop, okay? Which you probably will if you're plugging it in at your house. So, and then in your Model S, will it have AutoPilot 2? Will it have eventually full self-driving or not? Let me know about that. That's important. Will it have air suspension or not? That's important.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
All new Model S's are going to have air suspension, I believe. So, and then, of course, just learning. The other thing you notice immediately, if you've never even driven a Tesla, because I never did before I bought this, before the day I took delivery, I never drove one, is the rate of deceleration and how to drive it one-footed. Because that is something you can do with a Tesla, and I do. I hardly ever use my conventional brakes. I'm almost always one-footing it, which is my foot's on the accelerator when I want to maintain speed or accelerate. And when I want to slow down, I let off the accelerator, and I've got all-wheel drive, so any all-wheel drive Tesla will decelerate fairly quickly unless you modify the regenerative braking setting, which I don't recommend you do because it's going to affect your range. So the only time I use the conventional brakes is when I'm just about to stop, like the last mile an hour or two, and if I'm in a panic stop. Those are the only times I use the conventional brakes. So that's a huge difference between driving Tesla and any other car, including a hybrid. Because a hybrid feels like a regular car in most cases. You don't start regenerative braking until you touch the brake pedal. They've designed them that way. But it's cool. Once you get used to it, it's a much more efficient way to drive. It's less fatiguing. It's safer, too, in my opinion, because you only need, like I said, the brake right before you stop and in a panic stop. And another thing is the way the brake works. And I've got a new video out on this. I don't think I've released it yet, but I will soon. You can touch the all-wheel drive. Yeah, it is. You're getting an all-wheel drive S. Okay. Another thing about the brake pedal. Right as you approach coming to a stop, and you make that stop like at a traffic light, and you know you're gonna wait.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Oh, I talked about bioweapon. I'll talk about that in a minute. Once you approach let's say a red light, and you know you're going to wait there for a little while, what you what I do now is I'm pushing on the brake to stop the car, and then I push it all the way in, kind of like I'm tapping all the way down, like a click of the brake pedal with my foot, and then you let go of it. And once you let go of it, after you've clicked it like that, the car is stopped, like the parking brake has been applied. So you can just sit there with both feet on the floor, and then when you know the light's going to turn green, you can just push the accelerator at that point. You're not shifting from brake to accelerator. You're not wasting that time. You're not using that energy. It's fatiguing after a while, especially if you get to a lot of traffic lights with red lights. So that is a great feature. It even holds you on hills. It's great. So I would use that. Okay, how does bioweapons defense mode work? You get on the climate, you hit custom. I got a video on this too. Actually, this should be on auto. I don't know why it's on 5. You go over to here. If you have bioweapon, only Model X's with premium package, and I think Model S's now, but it may be standard. But when I ordered it, had to get the premium package. Right here, bioweapons defense, and that's it. I can feel the fan speed kicking up. It creates positive pressure in the cabin, and because of that, apparently no gases of any kind can enter the vehicle, including maybe even oxygen. I don't know. But anyway, one thing I did notice with bioweapons defense mode, and I'll make another video about this soon, is that it really does drain your battery. I was using it for camping mode one night, thinking, okay, when I'm having it on camp mode, I'll just, instead of using the normal HVAC, I'll put on bioweapons defense mode because it'll be better for me, which it is probably better for me as a person for my health. But it really drains the battery a lot more than normal HVAC. So I would not use it unless you really need to. And even in regular driving, I'm sure it uses the battery more. But you notice it even more when you're not driving. that drain. So anyway, I'm gonna turn it off right now. It's off. There we go. The biohazard symbol, that's all you do. Do I have air suspension in my car? Yes, all Model X's that have ever been built have the air suspension. So yes, I have it. It's great, especially if you go off-road. It's a great feature. You can't even delete it. You got to get it. In Model S, I think all new Model S's, I think going forward, are going to have not only air suspension but also all-wheel drive, I believe. They haven't had it in the past. Air suspension was always an option, so was all-wheel drive. So, okay, and you said on bioweapons defense mode that it clears out stale air from the cabin. If it does, that's even better. Yeah, that would explain another reason why it uses more electricity. So, I mean, it's a great system. I'm all about air quality. Anytime you can improve air quality, especially when you're driving behind all these internal combustion engines spewing out poison gases, the more the better, really. But I will tell you, even without using bioweapons defense mode, I rarely, if ever, smell any bad smelling exhaust vehicles. It seems to filter it out. I've got like a HEPA filter and 2 twin carbon filters, I believe, that condition all the air or filter all the air coming into the cabin, so I barely smell anything as it is, which is great. So I think it's a great system. I guess Model 3 is not going to have that either. That's another consideration. If you can get an S with that, with the bioweapons defense setup, then maybe that's a consideration for you over the Model 3. A lot of Model X owners say it has this new car smell. Actually, I didn't notice really any new car smell when I got mine. I think a lot of the new car smell is, toxic adhesives that they use in the build process. And compared to other vehicles, I got a Toyota Tacoma in December of 2016. I've got that actually on one of my other YouTube channels for my nonprofit. And anyway, that smelled horribly when I got it. Oh my gosh, I had the windows all rolled up and non-recirculated because I don't know why, but I nearly got sick after the first couple trips in the vehicle until I realized I had to roll the windows down. I had to make sure fresh air is coming in because that was so overpowering, and there was none of that with this Model X. Yeah, you could smell it was new. It didn't smell moldy or anything, but it didn't have that, that smell, that real recognizable new car smell. It did not. Sometimes, yeah, carrying pets, yeah. Or somebody who's really gassy. Maybe they have they're lactose intolerant. And I don't even have dairy anymore, so it's not me. We're entering some traffic. I don't know why this van is going so slow. Slower traffic, move right. That's the general rule. I think we all know that. Hopefully they'll program that into these self-driving Teslas. Auto high beam, yeah. I've got auto high beam. See, it's on, but it's not going to high beam right now. It's grayed out. It's just to the right of that green headlight icon on the left. It's grayed out. It turns on automatically if I need it. That's a great feature too. Definitely really nice feature to have. Just another, again, it just makes driving less fatiguing, really. What's my favorite Tesla? Well, I haven't even driven it. I'm guessing if you do, well, it depends what your priorities are. If your priority is speed, it's going to be a Model S P100D or the new Roadster that they're developing, because that's going to be, I think, 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, apparently. So for speed, it's that. For handling, let's say, I'd probably also say Model S P100D with different, probably the larger rim options. Although it rides really harshly, if you're looking for handling,
watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Lower the air suspension all the way down. But for cargo capacity and practicality, which is what I use my vehicle for, it's, police officer, it's Model X, what I have, and not the performance model. for practicality, the performance model is not very practical. I've got some videos on it, on some launches from the ludicrous mode, on some rental cars that I drove that were P100Ds on Model X and P90Ds. And you gotta heat that battery up to get the maximum acceleration. It takes about a half an hour. And it drains your battery while you're heating it up. It uses a lot of energy to heat it up. So, you know, for practicality, I would not recommend a performance model. It's a huge upcharge over the regular one. I think like $30,000. And you know, you gotta do the battery heating. You gotta do the launch mode. You gotta unlock Ludicrous Plus. All that takes time. You can't just do a spur of the moment, top speed, quickest ever acceleration run. You have to plan it well in advance. So that's why it's just not practical. It's a heck of a lot of fun. If you look at my videos, watch how fast it accelerates and how the launch mode works. Just search the channel, you'll see that. It's a lot of fun, but not practical. Okay, what's this? Auto high beam, stalk a little further away, return signal.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Yeah, it's true. It does. It moves it a little further away, because right now it's further away. If I move it back, auto high beam is off, but it's closer to me. But yeah, you really can't do anything about that, unfortunately. The stalk's going to be further away. That's a good point. There's a Mustang V8. Are they trying to race me? They're slowing down. Maybe they know they're on YouTube. Maybe they noticed I wasn't holding onto the steering wheel. Not everybody notices that. Most people don't notice it. But if they're looking for it, they do, and it freaks them out, like I was saying earlier. It's just because we're not used to seeing that, that's all. Just like if you were around in the early 90s when they got the flip phones, if you had a flip phone, everyone was pointing at you because they had never seen anyone talk on a cellular phone while walking around in public. But now everybody does it. It's just where we are right now. Okay, I'm seeing very bad connection right now. Alright, I think the connection's better now. Well, there's the Marine Corps Museum up there, that big thing sticking out of the sky. Up there. Marine Corps Museum, Quantico. So we're getting close to Woodbridge. I don't like getting close to tractor trailers. They barely fit in their lanes, and you know, AutoPilot does everything they can to center you in the lane. But still, if you're taking a corner and everybody rides the inside corner and AutoPilot stays in the center, then whoever's next to me on the outside of the corner feels uncomfortably close, and that's a lot of times I'll take over the wheel.
5.8 miles. Exit to exit 156, Virginia 784, Dale City, Ripon Landing.
You heard it, we're getting close. Let's see, AutoPilot's done just fine. If you've been watching this video, I've been on here for 44 minutes. I have not had to take over. And that's typical. The only time you run into some issues on the highway is sometimes if you've got a lot of aggressive, crazy drivers, okay, that are doing things they shouldn't be doing. But in normal traffic on the interstate, actually normal bumper to bumper and all that, I have no problems using the AutoPilot. I use it all the time in those situations. It's great. It goes down to 0, stops the car, moves it forward again. It's a lot less fatiguing. Automatic AutoPilot exit working or not? I'm not sure if I understand that question. Does that mean like if I grab the wheel and jerk it, it automatically pulls it out of AutoPilot? If I touch the accelerator, it kind of half takes it out of AutoPilot. If I tap the brake, it turns it off. If I move the stalk to the off, it turns it off. There's many ways to override it. It goes off very easily and quickly. that's not a concern. I think if you're wondering, well, if I do this, will it keep going? It will never keep going. It shuts itself off instantly. It wants you to take back over. It's expecting you to, actually. People passing me. That's why I'm not in the left lane.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Well, I am going pretty good. Well, no, actually, I'm slowing down because these people in front of me are going really slow. I'm going to pass them. It's not turning yet because this person's still there. And eventually, it's going to let me go. There we go. Oh, leaving the highway intersection. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I'm getting off the highway, which I will, and getting onto one of those clover leaves to get on my side road, then I will generally take this bottle off as I approach the intersection, and as I get to the deceleration lane, I'll just tap the brake or move the stalk forward and turn the system off, and it goes right off. I will not use it in any kind of interchange unless I'm going from one interstate to another, and I've done that in a few situations, and it works just fine. Because usually going from one interstate to another is a fairly gradual turn. They're not real sharp, and they're at speed too. So those are doable with AutoPilot, but those are the only ones. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thanks for the questions. There's all kinds of things. I'm learning so many things with this Tesla AutoPilot, not just AutoPilot, but just the Tesla in general. I mean, like I said earlier, I just learned about pushing the brake pedal in and locking it, at traffic lights. I just learned that about a week ago. The other thing is the Easter eggs about the Trans-Siberian Orchestra holiday show. Search my YouTube channel, you'll find it. I just learned about that about a week ago. There's always things I'm learning, which is great. Most vehicles, you learn everything within a certain period of time. This one there's so many features, it takes such a long time to learn it. And then when you have, they release new features.
Exit right to exit 156, Virginia 784, Dale City, Ripon Landing. Then stay to the right.
That's me, 784, so I'm going to take the water bottle off right now. I just took it off. I'm going to change lanes. I've still got the system on. See, it's not prompting me to touch the wheel yet, even though there's no pressure on it anymore. It gives you so much time, actually, where you don't have to touch the wheel. I just don't want to ever have to touch it, which is why I put the water bottle on. I mean, I can just, when it prompts me, I can just kind of nudge the wheel, and then it won't prompt me again for another period of time. Okay, I'm going to change lanes
Exit right to exit 156, Virginia 784,
now I'm going to turn the system
Dale
off
City,
just by tapping
Ripon
the
Landing.
brake here. Watch, ready?
Then stay
3,
to the right
2,
to exit
1.
156A
the brake.
to
See how it went
Virginia
off?
784E, Community
taking
College,
over.
Ripon Landing. Stay to the right to exit 156A to Virginia 784E, Community College, Ripon Landing.
If you want to stay with me for a bit, I'm going to keep this on until I get to the supercharger. You can see what it's like at the supercharger and how I plug in there.
In 900 feet, stay to the right to exit 156B to Virginia 784 West, Dale City. Stay to the right to exit 156B to Virginia 784 West, Dale City.
That's my Waze talking. If you're on Waze, send me a friend request. It's Mike Young on Waze. I think Mike Young Real Estate is my username, I think. All one word, Mike Young Real Estate. But I've been using that for, I don't know, like 4 years before Google owned it. It was a great system then. They made it better. I like it better than what's in this GPS here for Tesla. I use the Tesla GPS because it has a nice big map in front of me. And I can see exactly where I'm going with the map at all times. That's why I use it. I rarely, if ever, use the route that they plan out, because the route that they plan out on Tesla GPS is not as efficient
in half
as
a
Waze.
mile. Turn right on Gideon Drive.
That's been proven to me time and time again. I use this so much. Go with the Waze route. Keep the Waze voice on, and you know, just turn off the Tesla voice on their GPS, and just I recommend. All right, I'm making a
in
right
1,000
turn here.
feet.
Get the pass
Turn
if you
right.
want. The poor GPS and better, but maybe I'll make a separate video on that. Why Waze is better than the Tesla built-in GPS.
Turn right on Gideon Drive.
And also, I'm going to do a video about battery life. One of the things that I'm trying not to do now is accelerate hard on my way to the supercharger. Like, I'm trying to accelerate lightly, because when you accelerate hard, it heats the battery up.
In 3/4 of a mile. Turn left on Loa Way.
When you charge, and especially when you supercharge, you want to be charging the battery when it's not at a hot temperature to extend the life the most. So you can floor it right after you leave the supercharger, okay? But try not to floor it on the way right to the supercharger. So that's what I'm trying to practice now. I'm trying to develop a new habit with that.
In half a mile. Turn left. Then turn
There's like
right.
5 different tips I say I can give you about battery life, so I'll put those all in another video. We're almost there. Oh, this guy. Whoop. Make sure he's not going to turn into me. Or she. Not sure if they know what they're doing. Always drive defensively. Remember, if there's damage in front of your driver's door, it's probably almost always your fault. Just something for me to leave you with. And here I'm going to use the brake method. Here I'm approaching, I'm going to stop, I use the brakes. Now I push in and let go. And it sets the parking brake. I'm getting my shoes on now while I'm talking to you. So the parking brake is set. And see, look, it shows that my brakes are on. My foot is not on the brake pedal. That's how you know it's active, and you know that people know that that you're not moving. And now all I have to do is keep my foot next to the accelerator and touch the accelerator, and it goes on. Or sorry, the brake lights go off. We move forward. You don't need to hold your foot on the brake at a traffic light anymore. That's a great thing. I mean, it seems small, but it really helps with driving fatigue. You know.
Turn left on Loa Way.
Potentially rolling
then
back.
Then turn right on Potomac Mills Circle.
Tesla. You can roll back in a Tesla like on a stick shift. I'm going to do it again here. Here we're going to click. There. Now we're in it. I've got a video on that too, how you roll back in the Tesla. We are almost to the supercharger. All right, we're going to make it here. This is at Potomac Mills Mall.
Turn right on Potomac Mills Circle. Then turn left.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, try it tomorrow. Let me know what you think. It takes a little getting used to it. Once you do, it makes driving more fun and more like clicking a mouse when you show up to the traffic light. It's great.
Turn left.
There's a Model S leaving. See, I'm the only one. Looks like, oh, I can't turn now. It looks like we're empty. And I've got some tips on superchargers about how to do them right and which ones to use, which you always want to use 1A if you can, not doubling up. I got a video on that too, and I'll make other videos on that in the future. I don't want to use 1A here. I actually want to use 2A.
You've arrived at your destination.
I find that 2A works better. All right, here's how I back it up. Let's see. Which way am I looking here? Sorry, I'm trying to record this and back up. All right. I just use my backup camera when I'm backing up. I don't even look back anymore. After a while of using a Tesla, it's just easier. You don't make any mistakes. There. Okay. Push the button right here to put it in park. It'll come out. Somebody left some trash here. Alright, supercharger. Here it is. Pull it off. There's a little button here. If I push down and get close, it'll open my door. See? And then you just push it in all the way straight. That's it. Don't do anything else. And you can monitor everything else on the inside of the vehicle. And there's the transformers back there that are some of the security systems going off. I've never seen anybody ice anybody at this supercharger, which is good. And then when you come in here, you can see how it's doing. Put my foot on the brake, shuts my door. Let's see. Actually, I'm gonna move my charge limit all the way up, so I'm getting right in and I'm driving again. I don't recommend doing that all the time, but if you're gonna get right in and drive it, you can go close to the limit, real close. So it's telling me I've got an hour and 10 minutes to get all the way up there. And it's starting to ramp up 256. Usually you get about, when you're at a supercharger and it's not too busy, you should get about 300 miles per hour of range added to your car. And sometimes more, or sometimes less. But I'd say 300 miles per hour is about an average. If you're dramatically less than 300 miles an hour, you're only getting like 220 or something, unless you're almost all the way full, something's wrong and you should try another charger at your supercharger. Anyway, let's see. How to use the GPS Tesla, for example. I want to go from A to B. Oh, it's simple. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but you just basically push navigate and you enter an address. Okay, and once I push here, it gives me a keyboard to type in the exact address, and then when I do, then it'll go ahead and give me a route. It's that simple. Let's see. Music. Okay. Anyways, ask me for an address now, and I'm back to where I was. Anyway, that's it. It's simple, but if you heard me earlier, I don't recommend that you use the Tesla GPS. I recommend you use Waze. Just because, I mean, you can use it and watch as a map, but I think Waze is better. And I think that Tesla might be switching map suppliers, so maybe that's going to change. But for now, keep the sound on Waze, use Waze on your phone. Turn the sound off on the Tesla GPS, still type in the address so you have some idea where you're going, and you use them both. That's what I recommend. Anyway, that's it for now. I got to do some housekeeping items here, so thanks for watching. I've been online for about an hour here. There's signing off from the Nordstrom rack at Potomac Mills Tesla Supercharger. Comment below if you want to do any specific videos on any of the things I've talked about or any other ideas, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thanks. Good night.